the music, as we bring a nice and interested invited guest if you want to connect with different type of music, with history and different stuff. And today, Friday night, be that exception. We have a very important producer, engineer, also a DJ from the United States, talking about Mr. King Assassin. We're going to know why further ahead him so important, but meanwhile, welcome to the music.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, big shout out to the musica of the world, the music of the Latinos, Latinas.
All right. Yeah. Nice to have you here. How is everything on your end?
It's hot out here in California right now. You know, it's very hot. It's over 100 degrees, so muy caliente over here. How about in Colombia?
It is hot as well. We're a Caribbean island, so the sun is really hot by these days. It's a pleasure, as I was telling you, to have you here in this program. You have produced and worked alongside pioneers into the hip-hop and rap music, such as Tupac Shakur, Eaze Eaze E, and several different artists more. Let us know where your story begins.
It begins with my mom, because before I was born, when I was in her stomach, as un chiquito, she would play mariachi music all the time. She said that's why I'm so musical, because she would play the mariachi music, the Tejano music, the bandido music, you know what I mean? All the different type of music. And I always loved music, you know, so I started breakdancing, you know, dancing to hip hop. You know, spinning on my head, spinning on my back, spinning on my knees. And that's what got me into producing records, because I like the music so much. I said, I want to create, you know, some stuff like this. And I started DJing on the turntables. And from there, I just started making the music too. Bought a drum machine and learned how to use it. And then the next thing you know, I had a rapper, and he was rapping and I was making the beats. And we went into the studio, cut a record. Rest in peace to him. His name was Quiz One. Then I met Tupac, and when I met Tupac, he was still getting famous at the same time, so he wasn't really like how everybody knows him now. He was just getting started. He had just did a movie with one of the producers in New York called Juice, and I always called him Bishop after that.
Okay, wonderful. We would like to know. We'd like to know also a little bit about the life, the street life, and how it living, or you live it in the U.S.
Well, it's mostly all gang related out here. You know, when you're from California, you have the most biggest gangs out here are the Latino gangs. Like, they are the ones not to mess with out here in California, because there's two sides. There's a Sureño side, which is Southern California, then the Norteño side, which is Northern California. So you have two places that are divided within the Latin community and against each other. And one's blue and one's red. Okay. Southern is blue, Northern is red. My family originally is from Los Angeles, which is the blue side. But then they moved out here to the Bay Area, which is, you know, the red side. So throughout my whole life, I was back and forth because I had familia in both places, you know. So I grew up around all them gangs, even the Bloods and Crips, even on the African-American side too. So it was like, it was crazy because, when you're from here, they know you're from here, the gangs. But when you're not from here and you come out here, then I think that's when they take advantage of you. Luckily for me, nobody took advantage of me because everyone knew me. Even to this day, if there's any kind of problems or anything, like, I know so many generations of people out here, it's just crazy. So it's always the ones that try to claim the gangs that aren't from the real gangs that come out here that get in trouble. And usually things happen because there's so many people, like in other states, that claim Bloods and Crips. And when they come out here, they get checked. And it's crazy, you know, and then now they have to hire them for security and stuff like that. And it's just a big old mess. But that does play a huge part in growing up out here. Is the gangs, especially with the Latino gangs. It's very, very serious out here.
Experience, a lot of experience that really carry you through the music. And right through the music, we already know that you were very, very near to Tupac. Comment to us a little bit about the experience working and having this guy that left a lot in rap music.
He was a workaholic. Trabajar, all day and night, todos los días, todas las horas. Every time we went in the studio, we'd go in like 6 in the morning and come out like 6 in the morning the next day.
Wow.
And thought it was the same day. Because when you're in the studio, you're just locked up in there, just working, and you work like 24 hours and come out, and it's the next day, but it seems like it's the same day because it's like you're in a time zone, like time traveling or something. And it always felt like that because I'm still up, and it's like the next day already.
Yeah.
And then you find out later on the week, then it all hits you, and you're just like, oh, tired. But yeah, there was a lot of those times that we created some of the best music we've ever in our life. You know what I mean? And Tupac was that type of person to work hard, but he finished up real songs real fast. It was real fast. It wasn't like we waste no time. We used every second, every minute creating.
Wow. Let us know maybe those masterpieces or those hit songs that you produce or collaborate into alongside Tupac and different artists.
Well, there's a couple songs that mean a lot to me. One song that we did was called Real Bad Boys. We sampled Bad Boys, what you gonna do, from Inner Circle. It also was, yeah, it was a hit song for that Cops movie. Well, not the movie, but it was, when cops, they go into your house or they arrest people. It was a theme song for that too, called Bad Boys. And Dear Mama was very special to me because even though I didn't produce that song, I just did some scratching on that song, but the scratching got later taken off because Ice Cube wouldn't clear the sample for us, so we had to take it off. And that's what made the singing of Dear Mama. So if I would have never did that scratching, then there wouldn't be the Dear Mama how it sounds now. It would have had Yo-Yo on the hook. And you can read about that in Billboard. Billboard magazine out here did a big write-up on me telling that story because a lot of people didn't know the Dear Mama story, but I had, leaked it through Billboard years ago, and yeah, and it got published, and everybody knew the real story behind Dear Mama.
So that history was lifted direct from real life and take to a song?
Yeah, from real life, because everything that he talked about, see, that's why Tupac was Tupac, because he wasn't afraid to talk about his life, what went on in his life. And most rappers, they would be ashamed of that. They would be ashamed of talking about their mom on drugs and, not able to, afford things, and whatever she could afford, she still fix us a hot plate, to eat, So he wasn't ashamed of that. I think a lot of people in America and everywhere, even in Colombia, not everybody's rich. Not everybody sometimes struggles in their life, and he wasn't afraid to talk about that. That's what made him special.
For sure, and that's why many people feel identify with his music, identify with the story behind each one of his music. Talking about King Assassin as DJ, which one is your favorite genre?
Let's see, well, it depends upon the years, because every year there's, or every, I should say, century, or, through, because I've been alive for a long time. I'm 51 years old, so, in the early days, there's the old school stuff and there's the new school stuff. But overall, I would have to say my favorite song ever, that's a good one. That is a good one, because I have a couple.
Let us make it easier. You can choose two.
But that's a good question, because I know I got one of my favorites. I think Planet Rock. Planet Rock is probably my favorite song of all time, because it just has a lot. I used to break dance to that song. It made me feel good. Like I was getting ready to battle somebody and all that, you know what I mean? And the popping and all that stuff. So Planet Rock was fast, it had a lot of energy, it was positive, and the beat was, to this day, probably one of the most, break your speaker type of songs. Blow out your speaker type of songs, because it's doom, 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 and a lot of people sampled that. And then second would be Funky Drummer by James Brown.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a big tune.
Nice to see that you have like different type of music that influence you, that is not only what you produce you limit to, or maybe you like only what you produce, you like different type of music as well. Let us ask you now about the music industry. When you were into producing Tupac and different artists, that was like the golden era from hip-hop and rap music. Was an important time for the history for black music and African descent people in United States by that time. But how you live the transformation and development from that music industry until now? What you can say about the 90s and now 2022?
Yeah, in the 90s, it was, more of a experiment type of thing that people would, they would take your music and really give it a chance if it was different, because I grew up with Digital Underground. Them guys, Humpty Hump, the Humpty Dance. That was something different, and Pac was there too. He was actually used to dance for Digital Underground. That was innovation, because you can do different things and people would accept it. Nowadays, kids are afraid to take that chance. They're afraid to innovate. And that's why we come with the same music all the time, meaning, the kids and even older cats, they're afraid to take it back to. That's what made the golden era, because no one was afraid to do, to take chances. Okay. And I still take chances. That's why I want to come to Colombia and work with the kids out there and teach them what I do so that they can know. I'm working with a lot of different artists out there in Colombia too. There's a guy by the name of Scope. They call him Scope Bar. And he's doing Scope Bars from Medellin. And Scope Bar, it's crazy because this concept is crazy. It's about Pablo Escobar. That's why he calls himself Scope Bar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, we got my boy out there from the Dominican Republic, Tony, and also a cat by the name of Wilsey. He's from Colombia too, and we'll be working with him. That's Fabricio's boy. So, there's a lot of good things happening out there in Colombia. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to be over there sitting down in them chairs with you guys over there. That's nice and cool.
Welcome.
I like the colors.
Totally welcome.
You are always welcome, brother. With all that history you have on your shoulder to share with everyone, you are welcome, always. I would like to ask you, which one you prefer? Old school hip-hop or the new school hip-hop? Which one would be of your preference?
You're gonna get all the new school guys mad at me, but it's okay because I have to go with the old school. I have to go with the old school, and maybe I'm showing my age or whatever, but I know the old school was like no other. It was the true experience of hip hop with all the elements, the breaking, the dancing, the graffitiing, the b-boyism. It was all there, and we lost that in time.
Yes, indeed.
But
you cannot
that's why I want to show the kids of Colombia that, and so they could absorb that. Mm-hmm.
Sure. It's like comparing something ready-made than something handmade, Like in the old school, you had to do it. You had to live it and try express it and try innovate into the music, which was growing by that time. But now the new school is taking like samples and based it on the 90s and different artists' music to see what they can change or what they can just put in some digitals or things, because they have to move social media and they have to move numbers. But I feel like old school is very important. There's any experience that marked you during all this music career that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I'd like to share, that's a good question that you say that, because, the 90s era was totally different from the new era, what's happening right now. I think, the kids need to be innovative. They just need to think out the box besides listening to, the stuff that is hot right now, and kind of, block that out of their system where they could think totally new and come out with something totally different than anybody else. And that's my experience from being successful, is trying something different and thinking out the box. You have to think out the box in order to really, take things by storm. And that's when things start happening for you and they become viral online, because it's an online situation now. It's different than the old school. There's no more record shops. You know, it's more YouTube. It's more Spotify and digital. And you have to, you know, make videos. And not only that, you have to be different. I think that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else, is to keep God first and be different. That's the main thing.
Yes, sir. For this 2022, which project you working with, which artist you working with that you would want to share with us?
Working with, believe it or not, a new Tupac remix album. I'm going to be including a lot of people from Colombia on it, too. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I also got my new fleet of new fashion stuff. I got new shoes out. I got new shirts out. So you can follow me at DJ King Assassin on Twitter or on Instagram. It's all the same, at DJ King Assassin, and see all the latest fashion that I got. I'm going to have to come over there and give you guys some King Assassin t-shirts, some hats, some shoes, all that. And it's made in Italy. Everything's made in Italy.
Wow.
Oh, wow, wow. When we will have the pleasure to have you down here in Colombia and more in San Andres Island to share a little bit of all that experience?
Well, they have to keep it right here, tuned into the music right here to find out. And, you know, you guys will let them know the dates and everything right here. So keep it on lock and keep it on tune right here. And, you know, don't close that browser. Keep your browser open. You are in tune with the music, and the music knows all.
Yes, sir. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Someone so wise as you, live so much experience and have so many things that could apport definitely to the music industry, to new artists and new generation. What would you tell the youth them and young artists that coming up in music, that watching the music right now?
I would tell them to keep on creating. Don't ever stop creating, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because so many people, you know, they think of it as a dream or think of it as something that, you know, it's a 1 out of a million chance that you'll make it. All you got to do is just believe in God and keep creating and believe in yourself. And eventually you get better and better, and one day it's going to happen for you. Yes. And if it doesn't happen for you, then you can get a job in there too, doing the business executive side. So, you know, it's always good to learn the business of music along with creation too, because you can't really get paid unless you know the business side too. So you definitely got to learn the business side too.
Yes.
Great question. Yeah.
Yes,
Mr. King Assassin, thank you a lot. Thank you for sharing us this evening. For us, for sure, it's a pleasure to share all this nice experience, not only with we, but to all the teleaudience that's seeing us at this hour. Continue to make nice music, bringing up great artists, for sure. Welcome to Colombia. Welcome to San Andres, Providence, and Kedina. Welcome to the music set.
Man, I'm happy and I'm loving Colombia, and I love you guys too. Todo amor. Para todos.
Okay.
Right. Big up, Assassin. And we just want to tell you thanks once more. And saludos, as how you say. Saludos. We check another time. Thank you for the interview.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Right. Let's go to one short infomercial after this wonderful interview with the big man, King Assassin. Let's go to it.